Very good, thank you very much. And today we are starting our last webinar from our cycle, which is dedicated to the modern problems of anti-aging medicine. As far as you remember, we had 3 lectures, which was dedicated to the basic of anti-aging medicine. It was the first one. The second one was dedicated to the functional assessment and methods of functional assessment of intrinsic capacity and its main domains. And the third lecture was dedicated to the plan of nutrition and to physical activity. And today we are glad to represent you another lecture, another webinar, which will be made by my colleague, Elena Korshun, and she is a specialist in the field of peptide regulation, in field of peptidology, which concern the problems of introduction of peptides as a new kind of drugs in anti-aging medicine, and also peptidology is a science about peptides in inner sphere of organism. So today we will discuss a problem of peptides as a novel method, as a new method of anti-aging medicine. And I will with you after our webinar. Maybe somebody will have questions not only concerning this lecture, but previous lectures. We will be glad to discuss and to answer to all the questions. And now, please, Elena, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Good evening, dear colleagues and listeners. My name is Elena Korshun, and we will talk about method of anti-aging medicine like as peptides. The climate on the Earth has been changing in recent years, and some countries suffer from abnormal heat, and other countries suffer from too harsh and snowy winters, unusual for these places. Environmentalists talk about global climate changes, including an increase in the average annual temperature, causing the melting of glaciers and rising sea levels. In addition to warming, there is also an imbalance of all natural systems, which leads to a change in the precipitation regime, temperature anomalies, and an increase in the frequency of extreme events such as hurricanes, floods, and droughts. This negatively affects both agriculture and the quality of life in general. Experts note that the period between 2000 and 2010 saw the most powerful increase in greenhouse gas emissions over the past 30 years. According to the World Meteorological Organization, in 2014, the concentration in the atmosphere reached a record high level. Therefore, during the Paris Climate Conference was adopted by consensus on December 2015, and the Paris Agreement was signed on 2016, an agreement under the Convention on Climate Change, regulating measures to reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from 2020. The number of people on the planet is increasing, and the number of knowable lands is decreasing. Environmental pollution is increasing. This fact has led to a shortage of natural and pure foods. The result was the industrial production. Manufacturers give special feeds with growth hormones and antibiotics to speed up the production of animals. Plants are grown from genetically modified seeds. Artificial environmentals and pesticides are used to obtain large yields. Synthetic dyes, preservations, and stabilizers are added to food. Industrial increases food, created food is pure in useful substances and is not suitable for providing the body with peptides and nutrients. The deficiency leads to disruption of the function of the organism. It is also important to note that the condition of real life, almost every person have a peptide deficiency. This is especially pronounced in people of the big city. The decrease in the quality of food is also affected by the cooking methods, high heat, temperature, conditions for growing crops or livestock, transportation conditions, the presence of diseases of the gastrointestinal tract, violation of the microflora of both the stomach and intestines, pure assimilation due to lack of vitamins and necessary substances. It is currently impossible to fully compensate of the deficiency of peptides with only with the help of food, only with food. Peptide deficiencies affects the development of frequent season colds, herpes infections, the development of dermatological problems, weight gain, dull hair color, brittle nails, pure teeth condition, decreased skin elasticity, decreases memory and attention. It is necessary to develop a high precision and maximally effective peptides to fill the deficiency. Short peptides are usually produced from animal protein synthesis or from the protein of marine inhabitants, such as Action, oyster sea, shrimps, etc. Synthetic peptides, as well as peptides produced from warm-blooded animals such as cattle or pigs, especially extracted from the endocrine glands, are prohibited from being used in dietary supplements, sports and diabetic nutrition, and in all food products, both in Europe and in America and in the Russian Federation. Short peptides produced from marine inhabitants are only safe and permitted in all territories: America, Africa, Russia, China, Japan. Such peptides are APH peptides. The raw material of APH peptides are used sea oyster and achions and shrimps. Modern technologies for the production of the APH peptides completely repeat the natural processes in the organism. The food is crushed when it enters the food cavity, acquires uniformity. In the production of the APH peptides, the same process is used, which is named homogenization. The digestive process begins in the human stomach, which ensured the splitting of dietary fibers into components. The APH peptides are obtained biotechnologically from marine protein by hydrolysis and endolysis with the further use of gel filtration, which helps to remove proteins, hormones, and other compounds with a length of more than 20 amino acids from the mixture. Nanofiltration is used to separate peptides in production, which makes it possible to accurate separation from peptides from others. Separation. That's why the peptides is natural. Therefore, it is important to note that the APH peptides are natural, received by the body as its own natural physiological environment, safe and effective, identical to human molecules, tissue, and organs. The existence of all living organisms on the Earth is possible due to the interaction of short APH peptides, the APH and DNA as the main function structures that bring gene information and determine all cell functions. Regular gene expression in all species of living organism on the Earth. Therefore, it is important to note that the main role of peptides peptides is to restore the function of cells and organs, protect cells, protect against cancer, increasing resistance to stressful situations, diseases, virus attack, increasing the resistive forces of an organism. The peptides attach to the desired DNA fragment and achieve the synthesis of the necessary proteins, which helps the body to recover from the inside, while they themselves cannot start such synthesis and are a matrix of region. Therefore, the peptides do not act of the principle of substitution therapy, but moderate the activity of the genetic apparatus of the cells and regulate processes in such a way that they transfer the cell to the most natural mode of functioning. Micronutrition of directed action is a full-fledged 100% targeting of the desired organ or tissue. In the other words, the APH peptides are encoded in such a way that they selectively integrated into the DNA of the cells of a certain organ and update the function of the system for which they are intended, which is a natural and physiological process. The founder of these peptides is Professor Harrison, the founder and developer of peptide technology, the Harrison Peptide Standards, the developer of high-term studies of peptides more than 50 years, the organizer of the first gerontological center, and the director of the St. Petersburg Institute of Bioregulation. The APH peptides are pure peptides approved in different countries of the world, tested by the Fraunhofer Institute, it's Germany, produced in accordance with GMP standards, have all state certificates of the German Institute of Sports and the absence of hormones and steroids. The APH peptides complexes have a guaranteed content of short peptides, confirmed by the high-precision, high-performance liquid chromatology technique. This technique is the most accurate method of determining substances in both the pharmacological and food industries, as well as the methods of the input control provide improved methods for determining protein by amine nitrogen, total nitrogen, lowering methods, and the method of determining a biuretic reaction. All the methods of the control of the APH peptides are prescribed in American Pharma article, British, European, and Japanese Pharmaca article. The production technology has been patented in more than 200 studies of the countries of the Russian Federation, Eurasia, the USA, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and others. Such a large number of studies of these drugs ensured their high safety and effectiveness. German APH peptides have all the approval and permits for the world markets, such as anti-doping, safety, organic origin, which is extremely important for peptide complexes. Production technologies are protected and have the appropriate documentation in the USA, European Union, Russian Federation, and Democratic Republic of China. The study of peptides is of great interest, and today we will talk about different peptides. The first about is the APH-REG peptide. The APH-REG peptide has a regeneration, antioxidant, and reparative effect, which is due to the ability to repair DNA damage. The APH-REG peptide is able to regulate cellular activity by interacting with specific receptors. The APH-REG peptide activity certain genes involved in the process of updating the extracellular matrix and cell proliferation, which causes its high ability to regenerate cells and tissues. We found in our studies, that the PCNA expression relieved proliferation among keratinocytes of epidermis and higher dermal cells, vascular endothelium. The next protein is a well-known marker of cell proliferation. It's reduced increasing impression of Ka67 protein, which develops against the background of oxidative stress to indicate the presence of antioxidant action and high regenerative activity. We found that the application of the peptides APH-REG reduced the expression Ka67 protein in 1 and 6 times compared with the results without the application of the peptides APH-REG. Thus, the peptide APH-REG has an antioxidant and regenerating properties in the development of oxidative stress and mechanical damage of on the experimental in rats. Also, we obtained the data showing the effect of the APH-REG peptides on the expression of molecular markers of sirtuin. Sirtuin is the markers of age, which is the ability to regenerate and repair. And the next markers, P16E and K4A proteins, increasing with increasing oxidative stress. We found that the application of the APH-REG peptides contributed to a significant increase in the expression of protein sirtuin the second in the studied patients in 1 and 7 times after 3 months of the use, and in 2.5 times after 6 months from the baseline, which indicated a high activity of the peptide APH-REG as a tissue regeneration in relation to the regulation of gene expression and elimination of DNA damage, which confirmed the ability of the peptide APH-REG to repair. Based on the obtained data on the activity of the next protein P16E and Ka4A protein after the application of APH-REG peptide, we suggested a high antioxidant activity of the studied peptide. Prostate disease occupies a significant place among urological pathology, tend to increase morbidity and acquire increasing social significance. A considerable share is also acquired by malignant neoplasm. That's why the APH-Pro peptides contain a complex of low molecular weight peptides and has a normalizing effects on prostate function. Experimental studies has shown that the APH-Pro peptides regulates the metabolic processes in prostate cells, increasing their reserve capability, which allows us to assume the effectiveness of the use of the APH-Pro peptide to normalize the function of the prostate gland in men of different ages and disorders of various genesis. Under the influence of the peptide APH-Pro, we found significant areas of leukocyte infiltration were noticeable in the prostate stroma in the control group, but after the use is used in experimental group, we found increase of leukocyte infiltration in 1 and 7 times. The peptide APH-Pro reduces the degrees of inflammation in the development of prostatitis in the experimental model. We found that in rats were given orally the peptides APH Pro, the area of Arterios also increases. According to a number of others, more than 700% of men over the age of 50 suffer from prostate diseases, including prostate hyperplasia and oncological diseases. The search for new effective and safe means for the prevention and treatment of prostate diseases is an urgent task. The development of chronic prostatitis is no less dangerous for the social life of men. More than 50% of the male population suffer from chronic prostatitis. Chronic prostatitis more often affects men aged 20 to 40 who are in the period of the greatest sexual, reproductive, and labor activity, which repeatedly proved are only the medical but also the social significant aspects of the correction of this condition, and hence the search of new means of therapeutic and preventive measures. The results of clinical study has shown that frequent urination has completely stopped at 7.3% of chronic prostatitis patients, and age of patients dissipate the need for nighttime urination. It should be noted that the most positive results were found about the time to achieve the maximum urination rate, which after 6 months of the study decreases at 5 and 3 seconds. It refers to the norm. We found the fact of a significant decrease in the number of urinations in the daytime after the application of the APH Pro peptides in 1.5 in 3 months and in 1.8 times in 6 months compared to the baseline. Probably this factor also influences on the quality of life of the patients with the hyperplasia of prostate gland. It should be noted that the result of uroflowmetry in patients with the hyperplasia of prostate gland stage 1 and stage 2 showed the reconstruction of the main parameters of urine to normal values. These results is very good for these patients. The APH LGA peptide is a peptide complex containing a certain sequence of amino acids, which has a regulating effect on the organs of the reproductive system and has a regulating effect on the functional activity of the testes. The results of experimental studies have shown that the APH LGA peptide has a selective tissue special effect on testicular cells, improves their trophism, and has a regulated effects on metabolic processes in them, contributed to the normalization of functional and morphological changes in the testes, reducing the risk of various pathological processes. The peptide APH-LGA significantly increases the expression of the gene response for the normal formation of factors. And we found that the development of chronic inflammation in the testes in rats in the control group elevated hypertrophy of testicular tissue during the experiment, and the volume increase. The volume increase was in 2 and 4 times compared to normal date, but the increase in the volume of testes was noted only in 1 and 3 times from the normal in the main group. It's very good results. The APH LGA peptide reduces the degree of inflammation and normalized the function of the cells of the testes according to the experimental module. The changes in the functional state of the male sex glands plays an important role for the male body and can begin at any age, as it is affected by stress, illnesses, and other factors. It is generally accepted that, first of all, involution processes affect the endocrine function of the testicles. The onset of atrophic processes in the intestinal tissue of the testicles with the involvement of glandulars in the process can be detected already at the age of 30 and 40 years. The changes in the hormonal background and the association resticular of the mental and neurohormonal compounds of the copulatory cycle are the basic for the induction of copulatory function. It is very important to improve the quality of life with the development of hormonal changes. It is necessary to research for additional means of rehabilitation during these periods. The results of the conducted studies have shown that in the examined men, with age-related androgen deficiency are mainly the results of hormone changes in the body characteristics of this age group. It is possible that the degrees of severity of this manifestation in young people is also due to the impact of various observed internal factors and physical emotion overlaps. After 3 months of the application of the peptide APH-LGA in patients with age-related androgen deficiency, there was significant increases in testosterone level by 3 and 1 times with the preservation of this value, and after 6 months compared to the baseline, which was at the lower limit of normal. The microscopic examination of the ejaculate was indicated. There was an increase in the number of sperms and their mobility, a decrease in pathological form of sperms, and a decrease in the number of leukocytes. What about inflammation? It is very important. Professional athletes has a significant decrease in heart rate after the use of the APH-AVN peptides. A decrease in heart rate was noted. A decrease in the heart rate in people who are professionally engaged in sports indicates increases functional activity of the heart muscles, which helps to reduce the myocardial oxygen demand and is also expressed in the increase of the diastolic time by 1 and 30 times, respectively, in athletes taking the peptides compared to the indicated in the control group. We also use other peptides for health. For example, the peptide APH-LGAT. The only extract is a peptide complex of natural origin for the prevention and therapy of insulin-dependent diseases, disorders of esophageal metabolism, diabetes mellitus, and others. Sublingual convention reception. That's why we use peptide APH-LGAT and Marlboro-Lewis. Normalize of metabolism, reduction of bloating, heaviness in the abdomen, improvement of synthesis of digestive enzymes of the pancreas. Short peptides are combined with BCAA and collagen hydrolysate in one peptide such as APH-AGAA, increase in the volume of dry muscle mass, peptide APH-AE N means significant and restoration of the musculoskeletal system, and the peptide, the APHAVN, means stiffening and restoration of cardiovascular system. And for sportsmen and athletes, we use such peptides as you can see on this slide. AGA peptides in combination with BCAA enhance each other action, prevent the likelihood of muscles damage during strength training. They whey protein with peptide APH improves the function of the gastrointestinal tract, improves the absorption of water, micronutrients, vitamins, electrolytes, increasing protein absorption. And for immune system, we use such peptide as APHT, the peptide of thymus, natural short peptide APHT of the thymus activates its own immunity, provides protection and assistance in virus infections, influenza, herpes, acute respiratory infections in the post-operative period. Omega complexes are combined with short peptides APH, APH, AVN, APHAEN are able to improve lipid metabolism, reduce weight, protect against the occurrence of atherosclerotic plaques, and improve the gastrointestinal tract and carbohydrate metabolism. We use all these peptides with another micronutrients. It is recommended to take each with meals. In case of health disorders, it is recommended to take 1 month to achieve the desired effect. Then take a break for months and you can repeat the course. So we accept throughout the year. When preventing the development of diseases to strengthen general health, a course of 1 month is used, which can also be repeated every 3 months. Peptides are short chains of amino acids that are the building blocks of the body. Peptides are considered the natural environment of the body, so their intake is safe and natural, physiological, and effectiveness. Peptides were created based on the evidence-based scientific basis of the effectiveness of individual types of peptides. The uniqueness of short peptides lies in the ability to increase the activity of genes and activate dominant stem cells that strengthen the structure of tissue and organs. This is a natural process in the body, which is why it is believed that peptides provide physiological processes and belong to the natural environment of the body. This property ensures the safety of the use of peptide complexes in natural conditions. The above degrees phenomenon of self-activation of genes and stem cells is observed in a limited number of individuals who are considered long-lived. Therefore, we can safely characterize the use of peptides as a natural path to longevity, which is especially important in the conditions of the impending climates and environmental catastrophe. Thank you for your attention, and any question we can talk with you. Do you have any questions?
Concerning not only this webinar, but also another webinars which was at the previous times. So with Yelena, we answer to all your questions. and maybe you need some time to print in chat. So I want to say that it was very interesting to provide these webinars, and it was very interesting to answer to all questions. I should stress that questions which you wrote to me during my webinars were really very interesting, and I was really inspired by them, inspired by really very high level of our participants. So maybe you have any questions concerning our webinar, this webinar to Elena, but we'll be very glad. Harley, you are here as far as I see. Maybe thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. It's very good. Maybe Harley, it's a last webinar of our site. Maybe you want to say something. But
yes,
I see.
There's a question.
I see it's a question.
What's the future of pharma besides peptides? Yanis asks.
Another medical substances, and we use micro elements like as iron. We use we use magnesium. We use a lot of substances like phytotherapy. After besides peptides, it's a complex of methods.
And I want to add that it's a very new study which is published yesterday. We live in world where there are many information, and it was published yesterday that peptides may be the future of drugs for treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Because now the trend of studies, according to Alzheimer's disease, are the special drugs which stop inflammation in the brain. But now a new tendency, by the way, is to use peptides for this. For the same, so maybe another drugs will be worked out, but peptides is something from future. So I think that peptides have really large future in anti-aging medicine.
Another question from Yanis. Are these treatments affordable for the people, or it's more suitable for athletes? He asks.
For all people, we can use for every patients, people, for your relationship, for your relatives, not only for athletes. The peptide is a natural for our body. That's why we use for every person.
Okay. No other questions? Oh, thank you. Okay.
Maybe some other questions, dear colleagues, dear friends. Maybe Harley.
Yes, just a few words as it is the end of our first webinar. First of all, Andrei, I would like to thank you and Mrs. Koshun for your exquisite presentation and speeches. They were more than informative, I dare say. Then I would like to thank you all for your participation. As we already mentioned during our introduction, and I think Andrei agrees, our aim was to provide an introductory approach to the notion of anti-aging. Yeah. Maybe some terms, were more scientific, but sometimes it is difficult, to convey terms in a different way, isn't it?
It is really so, yeah.
So I hope they were understandable, and I hope that this seminar fulfilled its aim. I wish you gained a first understanding of the role of anti-aging in the improvement of our quality of life. And also, I would like to inform you that we are already planning our new cycle of webinars. So if you wish, we will keep you all informed. We will also send you shortly a questionnaire, if you could please answer it, so if we gain an idea about your preferences and ideas and recommendations and everything. So thank you all once again. Thank you, Andrei. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrs.
Thank you.
Koshun, for your presentation. I wish you all a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. And one more question, Yelena, maybe it's for you.
Yes, we have some results. We can check these results for this slide. After the use of peptides of the APH-VN peptide, the oxygen was increased in 1 and 3 times in every athletes.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have any more questions, you can write to the Gmail, the FSW Gmail. I will forward them to Andrei, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with the answers.
Okay. Dear colleagues, thank you very much. Thank you. And we wish you a very good evening, very good Sunday afternoon. Have a nice time.
Okay.
Yeah, goodbye.
Good evening to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.